How did you originally get to know? I know you've always kind of been like somebody that everybody here speaks highly of, and
Oh, I
you come to
appreciate it.
visit. But how do you have connections with like Carrie and Petey and the
Well, I,
Asheville?
I guess through the basically the festival is where I
Oh
met
right, yeah,
most of the guys at because Charlie, who runs it, brought me out for a show, just a regular show before I even came, and then that's when I found out about the festival, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And then it's met tons of cool people.
yeah.
So,
That's the first time I saw you was at the Diana Wortham at the festival.
oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great spot to perform.
yeah. I think you just popped on the show like you weren't on the lineup. This would have been like probably like 8 years ago, right when
Yeah,
it started.
yeah.
I think you had a joke about like a Klansman drowning. Does that sound familiar?
Oh my god, yeah,
I still remember it. So
yeah. Wow, I forgot about that one. You know, my brain can only hold so many jokes. So once I get a new one, another one falls out. You know.
yeah. Yeah, how does that work? I mean, do you keep up with do you like write them all down or you kind of just like do whatever like tonight? I mean, do you like write out set lists and prepare or you just kind of do what you're feeling in the moment or
Kind of both. Like I kind of got out of writing a list because I felt robotic, but now I'm kind of going back to it because I feel like I need it,
right.
just to make sure I hit all the jokes I want to hit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a little bit of both now. It's depending on the feel, how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But usually Asheville, I just come out here and it's always a good vibe. So
Yeah.
it's very easy to just kind of jump into things.
Yeah, right. It's a great room too. I don't Have you been to the Disclaimer since they moved to the Asheville Music Hall location?
No, I haven't. So
Yeah,
I'm excited.
it's great. It's a great room. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
Petey was talking it up, and I'm like, hey, man, whenever y'all get me on the show, it's always a good time. So
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah,
I'll be there.
awesome.
Um,
Are you doing time?
I don't think so. Just it's a rare thing to go out to a show and not do time. I think it's good for my karma to
Yeah. Oh yeah.
support a show.
Well, also like sometimes comedians ask me if I want a guest spot, and it's like I just want to be a fan.
Right. Yeah.
Just to step away from it and not have to worry about anything and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I feel bad sometimes. They think it's almost disrespectful. I'm like, no. I'm just really a big fan. I just want to sit back and watch.
That's nice. I've never said no.
Well, I mean, it's tough to say no, but I had to just to keep from getting burnt out.
Yeah.
It's like you just take a step back sometimes. It's like I know I'll get another shot.
Right.
So it's like, especially when I really like the comedian, it's like, man, I really appreciate it, but I just want to be here to support.
Yeah.
Just remove myself from being a comic and just being a fan again.
Yeah. Yeah, because you've been doing it for a while, right? You're like, did you start like, do you and Cody have like this a similar origin story, or did he? I know he started, I think, out there. Cody Hughes.
Yeah. I think he did start out like towards in Raleigh, I think Chapel Hill. He was in Chapel Hill. Well, I started when I was 30. It took me going to jail to be like, you know what, I ain't scared of this no more. So yeah, I literally went to jail for some minor thing, and I was like, man, I gotta do something. It's like once you're behind bars, you're like, I can handle that. I can handle getting heckled.
I got a picture, like do something practical, like stand-up comedy now.
Yeah. Well, my first bits were about going to jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for the first time. So it was
Yeah.
like, well, at least I got material now. I hate I had to do this to get material.
Okay, yeah. You needed the life experience to.
Yeah. But yeah, I started when I was 30. Something I always wanted to do, was just didn't have the guts
Yeah.
until then. And then I went to an open mic and sold out. Every comment was funny. And this one comment went up, and it was so quiet. And I remember I gave him a courtesy laugh, and the guy 2 chairs over was just like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, and kind of shrunk down, like I'm just trying to help him out. And I was like, I don't want to feel that. So seeing that took me another 2 years before I got the guts
Okay.
to do it.
You saw like just how awkward it could be.
Oh, man,
How
the tears
brutal.
were welling up in his eyes. I could feel every part of emotion he was feeling. I was like, I don't want to be that. So I was
Yeah.
sitting right in the front row, too, so it was just a lot to
Yeah.
handle.
Yeah.
Now I bomb on the regular. It's all right now.
Yeah, I know. There's always another one coming up, isn't there?
Yeah.
Every now and then I think like I could never bomb that hard now,
Yeah.
but then I do.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like,
Well, anytime I have a string of good shows, I'm like, it's coming.
I had one last night. I had an Easter show that I went, just tried all new stuff and crowd work, and after I was like, I should have just stuck to some jokes that might have worked a little bit better. I think that was more for me than for them. You know, like sorry.
Well, sometimes you have to. You know, it's like because you might find a nugget.
Growth.
Yeah, exactly. So
no nuggets were found last night.
Hey man, keep panning for that gold. That's all you can do.
So yeah, it works sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you 30? Did you do like other like performance art or stuff like theater or music or anything like that before comedy?
No,
writing.
I was just a class clown. Like I remember, like middle school, me and my buddy put together like a bunch of skits, and I think that's the closest thing to comedy. It's like probably like 8th grade. Me and him, we both did impressions of certain teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I did the principal, which he didn't smile a lick, but I think I nailed him. And then, we did like a buddy cop scene. We did like 3 or 4 skits, and that's my first taste of it. But other than that, just a class clown.
So you were just a funny guy from the beginning.
Well, I guess I used it, to try to make friends or, just the insecurities, hide my insecurities, especially in school.
Yeah.
I was joking with my buddy, I'd be like, man, I remember, because I didn't really think about it then, but I was kind of writing. You think of something funny, but that'll kill tomorrow in 3rd period, So you go to school with something, but I never really.
in your mind? Like
but like, oh man, when the car horn goes off and it's quiet, I'm going to say, excuse me, and they're going to lose it,
Yeah, that's stand up. It's like you kind of have a plan, but then you make it seem like you didn't have a plan.
Exactly.
If you do it right, it seems like you're just talking.
Yeah. Perfect example. Yeah. So I was pretty much just a class clown, just like joking around. Everyone in my family, I'm youngest of 8, so everyone in my family had a sense of humor.
Okay.
Yeah,
big families, you got to have jokes.
Especially the youngest. So it's like.
Just getting all that shit from everybody.
Oh, man. That's why I was like.
Or was it like you just were not even noticed because everybody was just off? Like.
Yeah, pretty much. I had to definitely be heard. It was just like everyone had a different style of humor. And I was just exposed to all of it.
Oh, that's nice.
So.
Just different funny people that were funny in different ways.
Yeah. So, especially when it came to TV, it was, Johnny Carson, the Benny Hill, Monty Python, the Pryor to, so I got a taste of a little bit of everything.
That's all you need, just those.
Yeah. And you're done. You're done. Yeah. But Cosby, I think as far as stand-up, I think it was Pryor was the first one I actually heard.
Yeah.
That I understood.
Yeah. What
it was, even though I didn't understand what he was talking about.
Right.
I understood what it was.
Yeah.
And I just came fascinated with it then.
Yeah. I mean, he's the one that really still sounds like right now to me. Like a lot of stuff from 40 years ago sounds dated, but the way he was doing it, like the vulnerability, but the silliness, just all the different.
Because everyone was pretty much.
It's sturdy. It's like kind of all the different flavors.
I think he's the one who changed the game.
Yeah.
As far as what comedy is, because, there's a lot of, knock, old school stand up straight classic, Mm-hmm. And then he comes in with this vulnerability and all these problems and just made him hilarious.
Yeah.
He made cars and tires talk, like it was just cool to hear. Then of course Eddie Murphy came through and that, that was over with. And I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. And he was like 23 or some insanely.
Yeah. Did 2 specials and dipped.
Yeah. And walked away in his 20s, like just the king of.
Yeah. And still talked about, Yeah. And you think about it, but 2 major specials and that's it. But I always wanted to be on Saturday Night Live until I did stand up.
Yeah.
And once you get that rawness of it, you're just like, man, I can't see myself doing anything else.
Doing like sketch and yeah.
I mean, which I definitely want to now, but when I started comedy, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I played in bands, did a lot of music before comedy, so working with people can be like, you got to get all these artists to show up to a place and somebody's always not there. And I like that stand-up's just like a person with a stool and a mic, like the minimalism of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when I first started doing competitions or whatever, I just remember heard a quote from Tiger Woods. He was like, man, I don't play the other golfers. I play the course.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like, oh, the course is the crowd.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I always try to think of that. Even if it's not in the competition, it's like, oh, I got to beat this course.
Yeah.
I got to win this course over.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little Tiger throwing it in there, you know? Tiger Woods.
So do you, like, when you come up with your ideas for jokes, do you like sit down to write, or do you just kind of like take note of when something happens to you in your life that seems like it's a joke, and then, you know, how do you just take it on stage and kind of write it on stage, or do you practice talking to yourself in the car? Like, how do you?
I just, now I think I'm more kind of right on stage, but I have, you know, somewhat of an idea. I just constantly think of it.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the day, I just constantly think. Then when I get up on stage, I just try to work it out. Even though I know it's not quite there, it's just getting it out.
Yeah.
And then I'll go and write it and then work on it then. But because usually when I write on stage, it forces me to use my Rolodex on stage quicker, you know, just going through the things. Kind of forces you to kind of have to be funny.
Yeah.
So
the pressure of like,
yeah, like, oh, here it
not
goes.
wanting to be the show that you saw 2 years before you started.
Yeah. So I kind of do both. I'll start off writing it on stage, and then once I get a nice little meaty part of it, that's when I'll go deeper.
Right.
And try to find something.
Yeah.
You know, because I always think, like, you know, we think of stuff and we're like, oh, that's funny, but I always think it's a deeper thing what we originally thought that we have to search for.
Yeah.
In the joke.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. Because like you did you came through town like a few months ago, and you did like a Harriet Tubman joke at the Slice of Life, and I remember that as like being like, that is like a very just amazing joke.
Oh,
like
thank you. Yeah, I think that was the
long,
first time
it's got
I did.
a lot to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that, like, is that a joke where it's like the first version of what you said on stage, there's a lot of revisions and it grew and grew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, I thought of it, especially when I heard about her carrying a gun and saw that whole thing, and I was like, man, it just kind of like something just hit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me see what I can, there's something there. So that night you saw me, I think that was the first night I actually really tried it.
Oh, really?
And I was like, well, here it goes. You know.
In Asheville, too, we can be.
Yeah. It's funny. I tried some jokes probably at the wrong spots, but then it's like, if I don't do it, then I'll lose it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I got to go for it.
Yeah. I mean, it worked. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah.
You know, it's still one of those I'm working on because I haven't found the right rhythm to it yet.
Yeah.
To where I'm comfortable with it, but I still like the idea. I still work on it. Like, I'll go back to my jokes I first had and look at them. Yeah. And, you know, just because I've grown since then, and see what I can turn them into.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, when Petey was on the podcast, he told me that you told him that.
Oh, really?
And then I did go back. I was like, yeah, maybe these ideas are good, but I just didn't have enough experience to make a joke out of it. So to go back through your old stuff.
Yeah, they say never throw anything away. So I don't. And I've got so many napkins and matchbooks and stuff. But, you know, it's all in a box somewhere. One day I'll just open it up and just start looking and be like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
You know, still sit it to the side, but be like, I don't know in the world.
Give that one a few more years.
Yeah. I had a joke about Medusa. And I'm sure I was drinking. And I wrote down on a piece of paper in my notebook, Medusa =, fat ass. And so like the next day I'm like, what in the world?
You'd like decrypt your own mind.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, you'll get that.
Yeah.
And it took me like 2 years because I let someone borrow a book, and I guess that note was in it.
Yeah.
And they were like, what the hell is Medusa = fat ass? And it was like, bing, hung up, wrote it down. And but yeah, it's just going back and seeing some of the old stuff, just see how my mind worked then is kind of funny too. You're like, man, I was immature.
Yeah.
I still am, but
right.
I was really immature.
Right. Yeah, you feel like you've learned how to go for like just
a deeper meaning besides the first thought.
Right.
You know?
Because I feel like at first I've only been doing it like about 8 years, and for most of that time it's like my jokes and my act are just anything they laughed at because it was so hard to get laughs. Yeah. But then as you get more experience, I imagine you want to be like, I want to talk about this. Yeah. And like choose the topic or, you know, have more decisions over what you say. Yeah. Because at first it's just like so hard to get.
You're just trying to get anything.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah. So, oh my God, please just let me get a chuckle. So my first 3 times I did pretty well, and I was like, man, I got this. And that 4th time, man, I went home. put a butter knife to my wrist. I just wanted to crease it. I didn't want to draw blood. But yeah.
Oh, geez. I like how specific that is.
Yeah, just crease it. I ain't trying to break skin. But it hurt, and I know that would chase off a lot of people. I know it has chased off a lot of people. But then I just got like, I'll show them next time.
Yeah.
And then the next time I bombed again, and I was like, damn it. So but I was hooked by that time. So.
What did you like? What was the difference? Is it just writing better jokes, or like have you always been like the mellow, relaxed thing? I think is a big part of like, which I'm really interested in. I wanted to ask you about that because I am not high energy, and I see people that are just like cartoon characters jumping around, and I'm like, well, that's amazing. Obviously, that can work really well.
Yeah.
But I am trying to lean more into like pauses, slow, chill energy, because to me that's like
it's more
almost
who you
more
are.
brief. Yeah, it's more who I am, but it's also like. It really stands out because everybody's up there shouting and moving around, and when you're like, you get up and you're just so chill. It's like, it's almost like kind of braver in some ways to leave those pauses.
Yeah, it was getting used to silence.
Yeah,
I think that was the toughest thing. But when I started, it was fun. I was more of a one-liner comic, and I would just stand there with the mic and the mic stand. I had my baseball cap on, folded to where you couldn't see me.
just hiding.
Yeah, hiding.
Yeah.
But I think once I got comfortable, people was like, you got to take off the hat, man. Because once I got comfortable, I started being more animated.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I can't see your face. So then I had to get rid of the hat, which I felt naked.
Yeah.
For like it took me a while to get used to that. But I guess I just kind of grew into my own. Like, I've always had that nickname since high school.
Okay.
So it's
I kind of figured that was the case, that was just like, you're just that dude before comedy.
Yeah, I was just
dude.
I think the funny thing is, I had to switch high schools my senior year, which sucked. A month into my senior year. So the new people I met that really didn't know me, so I would go to parties and stuff with some of them. They're like, man, he's just chilling, man, on the couch. They didn't know I was stoned, but I didn't want to let anybody know I was getting high. But, yeah, my buddies just started calling me Mello. It's like, man, he's just chill. It's just stuck. But, I mean, I guess it's just like my personality. I'm just kind of laid back.
You just always been that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the hypest people I've ever seen is probably like middle school when I had a little more energy. Now I'm just like Eeyore. Just kind of going around. But yeah, it's just more who I am. I think once I got comfortable with me, I think I just kind of settled down into it.
Yeah. I like it. I think it sets an audience at ease.
Yeah.
Just like the chill.
Yeah, well, I think the only thing that made me comfortable enough to even get up there was just pretend that we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's just one-sided conversation.
Right.
Just you're talking to somebody, but they ain't responding. They're responding in laughter.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. I had to trick my mind into going up just to be comfortable enough to throw anything out.
Yeah, because some people will transform into another like character on stage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some people, you seem like you're pretty consistent. I guess you do slip in like little cartoon moments, like little subtle like facial expressions and gestures.
I think the animation is once I got really comfortable, and I think another thing, my legs were shaking so much I had to move, because I was just so nervous.
Yeah.
Like my buddy asked me last week, he's like, man, do you still get nervous? I'm like, every time. If I'm not, that's when I worry.
Right.
Because I'm not like, I got to have anxiousness.
Right.
I got to be excited.
Yeah.
But thank God I'm bow-legged. No one can tell my knees. But yeah, it's just a point to where I just got comfortable. And, I was always a fan of animation. Like one of my favorites to watch is someone like Cedric, because he's not far out with it, but it's just enough to where it just paints a picture. Mm-hmm. It's not outlandish, but it does stand out. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, it can be kind of understated. Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
Then you got the, Dane Cooks, who's like, shwah, shwah,
Yeah.
So you got your extremes and you got your real chill, I think I kind of fell in that because I don't want to become too much of a act out person, but I just do it to accent.
Yeah.
And especially like it depends also what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes you might get a little more than usual. Mm-hmm. But usually I just try to keep it, it's enough to paint the picture.
So when you have those little moments where you do a little act out or a little scene, like do you ever practice those, or is that just all it just happens on stage and then you go, oh, that works, so I'll keep doing it that way? Do you?
Yeah, well, I think about it all the time. I always visualize how I want to look.
Okay.
Bruce Lee always says well, before we get to Bruce Lee, but Bruce Lee's kind of in this thing too. But I watched this coach, Dr. Shore, shot in basketball, took 10 people, split them up 2 groups of 5, and had 5 of them practice 10 foul shots a day, and the other 5 visualize shooting 10. The ones who visualized had a better percentage because they're seeing the arc, they're seeing the rotation and everything. So it's like I always try to visualize how I want to look on stage, how I want to walk, how I want to, everything, to the point to where it's like you think about it so much, your body just kind of...
You become that. Yeah, you are what you focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always try to do that. Even, like, I'll go for walks and just think about my set from beginning to end, or any joke I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And just
play it in your mind.
Play it in my mind over and over again. Like, nah, rewind, do it again.
Is there an audience in it when you do it, like enjoying it, or is it just kind of you enjoying yourself?
I mean, you got to throw that in there. Otherwise, they're going to be quiet. You got to make it sound like, oh my God, standing room, I ain't even finished the joke yet. But yeah, I mean, definitely, because I want them to laugh at certain points. So I want whatever it is I'm thinking of for that reaction. So I just try to visualize everything.
Yeah.
Every part about it. The movements, the act outs, how I walk, how I want to deliver, all of it.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about doing that.
Yeah. So I've seen people, act out in mirrors, and I'm like, I cannot.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It
feels
very
artificial.
creepy. Yeah, to me. I'm not saying anyone shouldn't do it. To each his own.
Doesn't feel right for you.
For me, no.
It's like, it's kind of like, it's just me, but I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, I don't want to see what I look like. I just want to visualize me doing it, but I don't want to actually look at myself doing it. So, yeah, that's pretty much the route I take all the time.
Yeah, I'll do that with with drumming or with music. Like if I can't quite get my body to do something, if I just kind of like lie in bed before I go to sleep and visualize myself doing it slow and then speed it up, then the next day, like my body will be able to do it.
I do that with drumming too. Like if I'm in the car listening to something, I try to hear what they're hitting when they're hitting it, and then go home and practice.
Yeah,
like I still can't do it, but just as long as I can understand what I'm hearing and I could somewhat visualize it.
Yeah,
then I can go home and kind of tinker around with it.
Yeah. I got this theory that drumming and comedy are like almost the same thing. Like if you go far enough with them, it's like timing, rhythm.
Yeah,
when you're a drummer, you're definitely like aware of other people and supporting like the room or the vibe. So you're kind of like you're kind of making it all happen, but you're like paying attention to other people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It can kind of feel like a good set can almost feel like playing a song or something. I don't know. Like you kind of lose yourself in it. It's like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many comics are drummers.
Yeah.
Like
timing.
It's
all about timing.
Yeah. Well, I've met probably the last few months, and I've known some of these comics for a long time. So, you played it? Oh, I played. So it's like probably like 5 or 6 I just met. Like, I was like, man, everyone plays around and saw this one guy just got some drums, and I'm like, it must be something with those two things that just match up well.
Yeah. We got a bunch of comics that used to be musicians here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's right. Comics want to be musicians. Musicians want to be comics.
Yeah.
Some reason it just goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty freeing after 20 years of carrying all the equipment around, and plugging everything in and sound checking just to walk up with the mic.
Yeah, and you ain't got to have the mic. Someone else
it's
bring
there.
it.
Yeah, you just do it. It might go great. It might whatever, but it's just so raw. Like I kind of love that about it. Like a lot of times we'll play music and you play for 2 hours and then you're like, did people even really? We were kind of in the background. It was ambience, but with comedy, it's like the focus is on the performer. Yeah, it's just so much more
and it's all
real.
It's funny because I'm like, man, why did I choose this one? Everyone has to pay attention,
I know.
But at the same time, you're like, pay attention to me.
Yeah,
it's weird, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what's interesting, like about the way you do it, because your energy on stage to me doesn't say like pay attention to me. I mean, it's still you're saying that because you have a microphone and you're telling your story. But some people are like clearly, just like jumping around yelling. So it's like, yeah.
Some of my favorites to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like,
I wish I could do it. I mean, but I've tried a little of that, and it's like the mirror thing. It just kind of feels like this doesn't feel like me. So.
Yeah, and I think people will see that. It's not you.
Right. Yeah, people know.
Yeah.
If you're being real.
And I think that's what I was bombing at when I first started, because I was trying to be something I wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
And then, but, we don't want to shell ourselves immediately.
Right.
It takes a minute to really be into, like, to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of my jokes were just made up, quick one-liners, and just keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I, you know, started getting comfortable, and then I started getting more vulnerable, and I was like, man, I don't know. Like, you know, I talked a little bit about my family just because I don't know if this is cool. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I'm letting people in.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to even get to that.
Yeah. Like, how long do you feel like it ended? Like, I don't know if that's synonymous with finding your voice, but I mean, I feel like to some degree I'm still kind of doing it. Like, definitely for the first few years, I don't even sound the same as I sound now to me.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about 10 years from now, like getting kind of more closer to who I am and being able to tell my stories. Like, do you feel like there was like 5-10 years? Like, was there like some time where you were like, all right, feels like me up here now. Yeah. And I'm relaxed.
Well, my first show, like I said, was about jail. So that was definitely about me, but it didn't seem like it was, you know, people were like, did he really?
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, but I, you know, it was about me, but it wasn't about me. It was about my experience there, you know, but I would say probably 5, 6, 7 years, maybe.
Yeah.
I started really like talking about me.
Yeah.
Especially when I went through my whole cancer scare. I think that's when it really took a change. And I was like, you know, I got to talk about it. It's on my mind.
Yeah.
My mom passing, things like that. You know, so it was just like, it's on my mind.
Yeah.
And I haven't written anything.
Yeah.
So here it is.
Now I'm walking up to the stage.
I guess I'll talk about, you know, a lot of people were shocked how quick I talked about it.
Yeah. And like processing it on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because I was like, man, I mean, I still don't believe it. But this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of, you know, especially people at the club, like, are you good? I'm like, yeah. I'm just trying to work it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's a scary thing, but I knew I was going to be okay, but it was still trying to process it. But I was processing on stage.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to sit with it and think about it.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just like, just talk.
I mean, I think that's like one of the most beautiful things you can do because people see themselves in that. Like everybody can kind of relate to losing somebody in their family. I think that's what I love about comedy. It's like when I was doing music, I was recording it alone in my room, putting on streaming services for somebody to listen to, you know, alone in the room. Yeah. And with comedy, it's like, it's almost like there's the chemical reaction of being in a room with people. Yeah. And I don't know. What you said just sounds really nice. Figuring that out. I'm kind of just getting to that point where I'm trying to talk about what happened this week, today, a little bit up top. Yeah. But then like last night I did a show where I was like, it's Easter, I'm just going to talk about my day, and then it was like, it was kind of the end of a show that was already pretty bad, and then but I didn't really get them with my new stuff, and then it was like kind of too late to play the hits, you know. So I was like, yeah, maybe I should have. But like in theory, I always want to do what you said, where I'm like processing the things that really matter to me in life on stage. Yeah. But sometimes it's bad though. Yeah. Sometimes I don't find the.
Yeah, but if you're getting out the stuff that's blocking it.
Yeah.
That's
right.
How I
right.
look at
okay.
it.
Yeah.
You know
There's a joke
saying?
After this.
Yeah.
We'll get through this.
We'll get through this. Granted, it won't be tonight. But we're working through it, you know. But it's sometimes just getting the stuff that's clouding it out of the way. Yeah. You know that doesn't work, whatever you started. But it's just peeling back those layers to get to what the nugget is, you know. And sometimes we struggle with that. Sometimes many more layers than we expected. Yeah. But as long as you keep trying, you'll find it. It'll appear once you, because you know it's something deeper. You just don't know yet, especially if you're writing it on stage. Yeah. So it's just getting that little bit of trash out the way so you can brush it all the way. But there it is. Okay, we got it. You know.
So when you're taking those pauses on stage with something new, you're in a pause and you're kind of having to think about what you don't know what you're going to say next? Is that?
Yeah, either that or trying to pick what to say, because sometimes you got 20 thoughts at once. Right. And you know when you're on, you can find that nugget like these. They're going like that, and you can be like, bang, bang. It might be by accident, but you're like, oh, I'm glad I picked that one. But, yeah, it's just, you know, trying to figure out. Sometimes it's like, all right, when you take the pause, you're trying to think of what you thought of earlier that you thought was good. Yeah. Like you might have got this out the way, then you're like, all right, what was that? I had something else with it, you know, and you just... But it's funny. We're in my mind. It's like, yeah, I think, but it's like a split second.
Yeah, you got that muscle memory, like calibrated.
Yeah. Well, it takes a while, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's on a curve, but it just takes a minute to get to that point. I think if you trust yourself, I think that's the main
right.
thing.
That's what I love about it. That's what I love about the journey. Is it's like I trust myself a lot more to do it now than 8 years ago. So it's exciting to think 8 more years from now I could be more evolved at that. Because that's a skill you can use in real life too. Just trusting yourself, being able to get to the point quickly. When people laugh, they might be a little more open to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's almost like for me, comedy is not. I mean, it'd be nice to be like get paid a bunch for it, but just the journey of it.
Yeah.
You know, how to communicate, how to meet people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, I like comedy up until I started getting paid. I mean, I want to get paid, but when the business part gets in it, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, because sometimes the like I went through all that with music before I did comedy. That like sometimes the gigs that pay the best are like the most soul crushing ones. Like it's like rich people gigs, you know.
Oh, God,
and sometimes like really awesome alternative spaces where it's just an amazing show.
Yeah,
you get like $20 or something.
Yeah, you're like, man.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, I just did a show in Aden, North Carolina, which is out towards Greenville, and it was a biker bar. And I walk in, there's like 3 bikers there with their patches and everything. I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus. But everyone, it was probably one of my funnest shows I've done in a long time.
Yeah.
Everyone was just great. There's nothing to do there, so everyone in town showed up.
Sometimes the small towns are the best.
Man, they're so much fun.
You're the thing for the night.
Yeah. And they're all just so appreciative. And like to have bikers come up, give you a hug, and be like, man, you're fun. You're like, all right, cool.
See, that's the best because that's like everything's so divided right now. Like that's my favorite thing is when like people kind of like people for the most part. So when you have something like that, I don't know. Was that your first time doing like playing for bikers? No,
actually, shockingly, no. I remember I did this spot in Youngsville, North Carolina, and it's called Bud's Tavern, and it's just a trailer. And this lady had seen me before. She goes, "Oh, he's going to be there," and messaged me and said, "Oh, we're coming, bringing my friends." I didn't know she was like dating the head of a biker gang. And so I showed up. It's in the middle of the woods.
She didn't mention that.
No, it's in the middle of the woods, and it's kind of foggy. And I'm like hitting people up like, yo, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, right.
You don't hear from
Leaving
me.
breadcrumbs.
Yeah, right. And I pull in, and there's like 80 bikes. And then all these dudes, tough-looking dudes with jackets and patches. And I'm like, oh, my God. And the leader of the gang, I don't know what you call them,
I think
the crew.
I think it's gang.
Yeah. They were a subset of the Hells Angels.
Yeah.
And he, in the middle of my act, he walks up. And I'm like, oh, this is the end. And he just pulls a bottle of wine out. And he said, here you go, this is for you. And just gave me a whole bottle of wine. Because I had my little wine bit back in the day. And he was like, this is for you, man. No one else can have any. I was like, you sure? And then it's a blast, man. They were some of the coolest guys.
Yeah.
And it was just a bomb time, to be freaked out at first and then realize like, oh man, they're enjoying it.
Was there like a moment where you had to crack it when you like walked out? Was it like tense? Was there like a certain like 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes in where you like cracked it and then it worked, or was it just?
I think I just went out there with this line. It's like, man, it's my first time in Youngsville on purpose. And they were like, it sucks here. And I was like, okay, good.
That's nice. It's like a risk, right?
Yeah,
First thing I'm going to say, I'm going to roast this place.
Yeah.
So it's going to go one way or the other.
Yeah. And the dude, Bud, is awesome. Like, he owns the joint, makes everybody dinners. So it's like a good vibe.
Right.
But
he's setting the tone of like,
yeah. And I remember one time, a guy said something racist to me on stage. And I'm like, looking at him like, did you really just, I didn't have to say nothing. Bud was in his face. And Bud's like this big, huge redneck. And he snatched that dude up, took him outside and gave him a talking to.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like,
nice.
All right.
That's better than a lot of comedy clubs or places like have somebody, it's like somebody needs to be
here, please.
Yeah, keep the performer being able to do their job.
Greensboro, I almost got my ass kicked by a whole table. And they don't have security. They had to get the cook. He come out with a spatula. Like, do you want me to kick him out? I'm like, are you done cooking?
Don't you have like a rolling pin or something, like a knife?
Something else. But yeah, that was a little scary. But yeah, at least he took care of it. So
Yeah. So what's that like when you see that? Like, do you know, when it's like a different culture or something like that? Are you thinking like, okay, these bikers, we all have family, or we all like, what are the things we haven't? Are you kind of thinking like, you want to kind of structure things to relate, or is it just like, I'm gonna be me and just do what I do? Like,
a little both. I like to say something that we're all there for, like that we all experience together. You know, so it's a lot of probably some riffing up front.
yeah,
Try not to stray too much and
Yeah.
get in trouble. But I just try to steer them into what I want to talk about.
Mhm.
But I definitely, you know, acknowledge what's going on.
yeah,
You know, and I think once you do that, everyone's on board because everyone sees what you're talking. Then
yeah,
you can kind of
yeah,
bring them into your space.
Yeah.
My thing is, once you got them listening, you can say whatever you want.
yeah,
You know, so I don't like to not be me,
yeah,
which some shows you have to.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, here we go. Hey, what's up with the weather? You know, but I just tried. You know, you've been to those gigs. Like, you
clean-
can't say this.
the clean,
You can't do this.
Everyone's like 60 years old.
Oh my God.
wealthy with.
But even then, I'm like,
White.
you know what? Screw. Oh man, it's crazy. Like, old white people love me,
yeah.
and I'm like, I don't get it. I'm talking shit.
You don't
about
seem like you're the kind of comedian that anybody wouldn't like, though, right? There's,
mean, I don't
there's
know.
some group that's like, Mike Mello,
Screw this dude.
fucking guy. Like, it just doesn't seem.
No, I mean, I guess you're right. I don't know. I never really think about it
Mm-hmm.
until after the show. It's like, man, oh, okay. You know, especially when I first started, because there was a lot of racial stuff I talked about. And I was really shocked at how many older white people just came up and loved my stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, really? Okay, maybe I'm, all right, maybe I'm on to something. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because it's funny, the white crowds, when I first started, would like me way better than urban crowds, black
yeah.
crowds.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on?
Aren't white crowds just easier, like all around?
They give you a
That's what I've
chance.
heard. Yeah.
They'll listen, and they're very polite. But I just, for some reason, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on with the black crowds. And then it just dawned. I got mad one day. I think I was opening up for Bruce or something. I'm like, screw this, man. And I went up there with this attitude. And I think what it was is with the black crowd, you got to hit them quicker.
Mm.
They don't want to hear no story up front.
Yeah.
Man, what the dude talking about?
Yeah.
Man, get your ass off. You know, and I'm like, but I go up there and just boom, 3 quick ones,
Mm-hmm.
get their attention, and then I can lull them to sleep by chilling. You know,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just finding that key to unlock.
And do those first 3 jokes have to be like a particular type of joke? Like,
Just quick and funny.
Just-
It's got to be
yeah.
funny.
okay.
It's got to be funny.
Yeah. Quick
That's
and
it.
funny.
Yeah.
3 quick funny ones. I can do this. I
Yeah.
have these now we're gonna just kind of.
Well, it's funny. White guys will have a better chance than most black guys because they'll be like, all right, let's see what he got. You know, they're gonna give you a chance before anything.
Oh yeah.
You know, with black comedians, they're like, you better be funny.
Yeah.
But white comedians, are like, let's see what he got. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like they'll kind of ease off a little bit, but you know, you still got to make them laugh.
Yeah.
But I think you get a little more of a grace period
Yeah.
than I would.
Yeah. I've only gotten to perform in black rooms a couple of times. I would really like to experience that more.
Yeah.
I don't expect to like do well in them, but just to kind of broaden what it
Yeah.
is. Asheville can be a very like, Asheville-y
Yeah.
vibe.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should definitely search it out because it adds another dimension to
yeah.
everything that you do. You know, once you're like, oh, okay, I got this in me now, you know, it just adds another tool. Because you can take those, say, half of one crowd, half the other crowd, put them together, and they'll like me. That's how it was going. But if it was all black, I was like, they don't like me. But I was telling stories off gate,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, nah, man.
Yeah. Right.
know.
Like a longer stories.
Yeah.
You gotta like.
Get them first. You
Yeah.
gotta, as long as you got them laughing, they'll shut up and listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody. Like that's all. That's the only thing is just you just got to get them.
Yeah, it is interesting. Just the different cultures and different rooms. I think it took me a few years to even understand that they are. You don't just get an act that works. You have to really kind of dial your tone in to like a rural audience versus a city audience.
I was doing a lot of college-y material just because that's all I was saying. You know, so I'm like
Like the
okay.
crowds of college kids.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because at Good Nights, you know, they're surrounded by 5 different colleges.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like, all right, and it was always a younger. And then I found myself like just catering to them.
Yeah.
And it took me doing those black shows because they used to have like a kind of like a chocolate sundaes, which I got a lot of my teeth cut in that. And it just made me realize, oh no, you can't do this here. They're looking at you like, what are you talking about? You know? So it was like, you know, it's also growing, you know, in the game.
Yeah.
You know, and just learning like, okay, you can't be talking about college shit and everyone here is like 45 and
Yeah.
you know, but that's where I was all the material I had. So it was like once I got it and then I had to figure that out and then figure this out. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, I think I got it.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a certain type of crowd that you enjoy performing for the most, or you like to just keep it mixed up as much as possible?
Yeah. I mean, just
Keeps it interesting.
yeah. You know, I think you have to get in front of as many people as you can, just so at least learn how to get broad, you know, spectrum of people instead of just whoever's like right there.
Yeah.
You know, definitely made me grow more as a comic.
Yeah.
So okay, I got, you know, I'm in Japan. What am I gonna do? No. So I mean, y'all like kung fu? To be like, man, that's over there. What are you talking about? But yeah, I think it can only help. It can only help you and your confidence.
Yeah.
Because it won't throw you off. Like
Right.
white hair used to throw me off.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, why they got everybody's Nana in the front row? But then you realize they're the ones that did dirty shit before we did dirty shit.
Yeah.
But it's still that respect.
Yeah.
You know, my friend's Shane Smith, I don't know if you know him, but Raleigh Comet, his mom came to the show the other night. And I got some jokes that are, you know, I was like, I'm so sorry. I kept apologizing to her. She's this little short white lady, silver hair, and I'm just, I'm so sorry. Just because I love her so much, you know, I feel like
Here comes another one.
I know. I grabbed her hand, you know, and just like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I'm not a prude. I was like, I know, but I just feel bad. You know? But yeah, white hairs used to freak me out more than anything.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, all right, let me see where I can get them.
Yeah.
You know? It's always a challenge now. It's like, all right.
Yeah, now it's like for me, it's crossing over the other way where like I'm 44, so if I'm at the Odd on Tuesday night and everybody's like 24,
Yeah.
it's almost like I'm kind of becoming the white hair comic for them. So talking about having kids or shit like that, it's like they don't.
Like we are kids.
Yeah, we're like it's got to be like a really good joke to be a dad topical kind of thing. So
yeah, I had to do a college a couple months ago, and I was like, man, they look like
older.
Children. Like they look like high schoolers now
Oh,
to me, you know. And it's like, what? And all these younger guys are on the ticket with me, and I'm like, dude, what am I gonna say? You know. But it's funny because I was just being honest. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little nervous. You know, I wasn't sure I was gonna meet my children here for the first time. You know, just anything to get them on board.
Yeah.
And then just adjust the rest of the way.
Yeah. How much time did you do?
40.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Did you land it at the end?
Yeah. I was like trying not to, you know, because it's college, so you got to not say certain things and not, you know, cross the line. So I was editing as I'm talking.
Yeah.
You know, which is tough.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the coolest, hardest thing ever. I mean, that's like, I don't know. That's why I started this podcast. I could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't want to hear about it all day. I was like,
so that's why we're outside.
Yeah.
Get outside.
It's spring break this week. I didn't realize when I you're going to be in town today. It's spring break, so the kids are home all week. So I was like, oh, we'll go outside today.
We got kicked out.
We got maybe a little bit kicked out. I think if we could have done it inside, but then I wouldn't get to go to your show afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think I did this so I could still just leave.
Look at you.
Be like, good luck with
It's married life there, right?
It's always like bargaining.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to Knoxville for a show on Friday, so then I'm going to take the kids to the grandparents' house and give my wife a night alone. She's great. She totally supports all this weird podcasting and comedy, but I do need to always be like, all right, this week I'm doing some shows and some podcasts. How can I give you the time to live your dream?
Yeah.
Because this is mine, just talking creative shit.
Well, that's good. You got to
shows.
compromise.
Yeah.
You know, I was just in a relationship, and comedy was a problem. And it got to the point where it's like, yo, like
that's what you do.
Yeah. I didn't just start this.
Yeah.
You know, but I totally understand where she was coming from, and you know, because I've been in it 29 2 years now. Ugh.
Damn.
I know. I just thought about that. Like, good God.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 22 years almost.
Damn.
So, I understand how hard it is, especially like last minute shows
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, but like I can't say no. Like this is what I do. Like if I say no, they might not ask me again.
I know.
You know. So that was a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and I did the best to compromise. It's like, all right, I won't go to any mics. So that's when I started writing even more on stage because
out of necessity.
Because I can't hit the mics like I want to.
The middle chunk of that college set, you're just like, all right, let's try some new.
Yeah. Like, oh, well, I'm flying, blind here. But yeah, that's awesome. She supports you. But yeah, it's definitely, you got to make room.
Yeah.
Can't be all about yourself.
And I got to check in too and not just be like, is it good? It's fine. I got to be like, hey, let's sit down, look at the calendar, make sure we're both getting time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes she'll kind of be like, I just need to overwork myself for the kids. And I'm like, I'm going to take my time to do my fun shit. That's why I work hard at my job, so I can be an artist and do fun shit. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, it's always a plus to have someone right there with you, supporting you. My girl supported me, but it was just a little too much.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get it. It's tough to date a comedian, especially one that works a lot.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even mad at her. I was just like, I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to be happy. So let's just break it off.
Yeah, this was our time.
Yeah.
That was great. And now it's,
And I told her, I was like, it's not about hate.
Yeah.
I don't hate you at all. I love you still. We dated 2 years, but it's my career.
Yeah.
This is A, B, and C for me. You know, so, you're a kindergarten teacher. You get to have fun all the time. But yeah, like I think what it really hit was they called me up one day. I was like, hey, what are you doing? We may need you for like a spot. Cool, I'm there. I can go do it and then leave right after, come home to keep the peace.
I know all about that.
I
know that move.
Yeah. Like, all right, guys, hey, gotta go. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I got there. Well, I called and I was like, everything good? You still need me? He's like, no, but if you want a couple of drinks, just come on through, we'll buy you a couple of drinks. I was like, you know what? She won't be home for a little bit. I'll go get a couple of drinks, watch the show. I get there, halfway there, they're like, oh, no, we need you. And I was like, okay, well, great. I got my work clothes on from my day job, but you know what? I'm coming. I get there and I was like, so what y'all want? Like, guest spot, feature? They're like, no, you're headlining. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, you're headlining the whole weekend. And I'm like,
yeah,
I got my work clothes on. But then I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get in so much trouble. And it felt like having a bad report card.
Yeah.
You got to make that call.
Yeah.
In the principal's office, like, I'm headlining, so you can't come home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got to work the whole weekend. Well, and then it's just...
It's like already strained, and then you're like, this one's going to be...
Yeah, this is the last one. That's right.
Yeah.
But you know what?
That's right, then.
Yeah.
It was the last one. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Mello.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always good to have that support.
Yeah. I mean, it's an ongoing thing. I'm starting to travel a little more and do this, so it's, the more you do, you have to... Eventually, the kids will be, theoretically, they'll be like able to pay for their own shit, drive themselves to places. So that'd be nice. You know? But yeah, you say you've been doing comedy over 20 years. Like, I mean, when I started almost 10 years ago, I felt like it was just peaking, and the stand-up was peaking in this insane way, and it would just go back down. But it's continued to just be just this growing thing, like
saturated.
Yeah, I know. It's just
saturated.
So saturated.
I think COVID
every year
produced 5 million comics.
Yeah.
It's like, where are these comics come from? Like, when everything opened back up, I went to the mics and I'm like, I know nobody.
Yeah.
It's like, where are these people coming from?
Yeah, COVID brought everybody out. And then even like this last year is like still just more and more, which is good, but it's also like everybody's like posting all their videos from their first year of stand-up on the internet. So the whole internet is just full of like really rough, What's it been like watching it just like balloon over the last 20 years? You used to be one of 200 people, and now you're one of 2 million people or something.
Man, it's insane. But I think it's, I think the internet definitely makes it possible for anybody to make it now.
Yeah.
So, you only have to be a comic anymore, and they'll book you at a comedy club.
Yeah. You just have a bunch of followers, and
hey, you sell out.
Yeah.
At first I'm like, man, this sucks. But then I'm like, they're selling out. When it comes down to it, it's business.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I mean, parts of it is like too much. But then again, it's like, it's opening up other avenues. So it's like kind of a love-hate thing. I don't want to get lost in the shuffle either.
Yeah.
Because I'm not one of those go gadget, go get them guys, which I'm trying to change that. Especially being in it for so long. It's like, I got to use a computer,
Yeah,
We used to didn't have to use a computer, know. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of cool just because more and more people are getting into it, but I think more and more people are watching it. So it's like,
yeah, right. More of an audience.
Yeah, more of an audience.
But also too many comedians. It's like double-edged.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, But yeah, I think it's a good thing because it's, a lot of these people just starting out are bringing people to the clubs who've never been to clubs before,
right?
And they're loving it. I tell everybody, if you've never been, you got to go see live comedy.
Yeah,
it's nothing like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are actually now venturing out and seeing, because now they're seeing these reels, they're seeing YouTubers, and then even the YouTubers will come out, they sell out, and then I'm like, oh man, I want to come see a real comedian.
Yeah,
not disrespecting, but oh man, this was fun. Let's go see somebody that. So I think it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, we got a lot of comments, but we got a lot more people watching it.
Yeah. So there's been the crowds and the shows and all have been good. You're like Raleigh area, right? Yeah. It's like good nights.
Good nights. They got Improv and Carrie, and then of course in between that, a lot of people throwing shows. So there's something to do almost every night of the week.
Yeah, do you have a number of nights you try to get out a certain number of nights a week? Or?
I'm newly single, so every night. No, I mean,
it's nice that when you are newly single, you have this community of people that are funny and fun to be around. Mm-hmm. When you break up and you don't have any, just gaming alone or whatever.
Well, I had to get off my PlayStation for sure. But yeah, I try to get out just because I have a day job. I try to get out at least two nights a week. At least try to get up with other comedians and at least throw ideas back at each other. Just I have to do something in comedy, even if it's just going to look at comedy.
Yeah. I'm getting more on that. I'm starting to realize more that if you really pay attention to a show, you can learn a lot from that. Kind of counts as practice. It's almost like what you were saying about playing it in your mind, visualizing it. Watching a show can be like that too. Even somebody doesn't do well, you can be like, well, why didn't they do well?
Exactly.
You can learn from all that instead of just doing your set and then going out and not paying attention to it.
Yeah. That's how I got good. When I first started getting into the club for free, they're like, oh, he's funny, you can come in and hang out. I would go watch the whole weekend, one
nights?
comic for a whole weekend.
That's amazing. You had a place in town, you could just go see all this really great comedy right when you were starting. And
it was just I was such a sponge then. I was just like, oh, I need it, so I would go watch a comedian one night and then go the next night, see if he changed it, the rhythm, the crowd, try to see all of it. And even if they aren't my cup of tea, why are all these people here? Yeah,
it's working.
Yeah,
even if
whatever
it's not your taste. Yeah. I love that, watching somebody do it again, because I kind of enjoy watching. I would rather see a really interesting set 5 different times and then see 5 different sets, because it is kind of cool to see how a comic will change things and punch things up over a weekend. Yeah,
that's especially working with a bigger comic. You get to see how their mind works. I used to roll with Ralphie May, and that dude, he has enough jokes to give away and still got 4 hours. I watched him do 2 2-hour shows and didn't repeat one thing. And I'm like, I'm just sitting there in astonishment. Are you going to say anything from the first show?
Yeah.
Then one of my favorite comedians, Robert Schimmel, I got to see him and just watched him the whole weekend. And classic comic, kept everything kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys like Todd Glass come through, they're like, all right, he's gonna be all over the place,
Right. Yeah.
But it's just cool to watch, and that was my classroom
Yeah.
for my first 3 years.
Yeah.
As soon as I could get in that club, all I wanted to do is just sit and watch.
That's awesome that you had that.
Yeah.
Not specials, but like being in the room for it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Huh.
I would suggest anybody go out and do that.
Raleigh's a really strong scene too. I did some shows there last year. I'll just do go do a show in a brewery or whatever, and like you can tell when you get to like Atlanta or Raleigh, there's like, all right, this is like a bigger city. There's like, this is a pretty high level.
And the good thing about it is it's a smart. I like to say a smart city, just because there's so many, like especially where Good Nights is. There's like I said, there's 5 colleges.
Right. So you got all those like liberal, educated minds.
Yeah,
So,
and it's very diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the business people coming in.
Yeah.
So it's just a cool. It's probably why it's such a good room.
Yeah.
Just because of its location.
Yeah.
It's been around forever. So, I mean, they got a new location now, but man, it's pretty cool to see that many different types of people in one spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that when I go there that there's a lot of cool culture, but also it's like more diverse. Asheville's not the most diverse place.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it's great. Other than that,
Yeah.
the people that come visit me always point that out to me.
Yeah. Well, the first time I ever came to Asheville, I was like, oh, y'all do have black people.
Yeah.
And this was like 90s. I think it used to be the Bell Share.
Yeah.
First time I came out was for the Bell. I was like, man, this is the coolest thing. I fell in love with Asheville after that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember one year we did the festival. We had an after party, and I was like, "Oh, this is where all the black people are at." This one club.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh, this why the police presence so thick." I was like, "Oh, they're sweeping us out." Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I like doing comedy in spots like that. Like, it's amazing how many places I've gone to where I'm like, "All right, is there anyone else here like me?" But I'm like, screw it.
Yeah.
I grew up kind of like that anyway when I moved to North Carolina. Because Cary, Raleigh area, when I first moved here back in 1852, it wasn't, there wasn't that many. It's pretty segregated.
1852?
Yeah, 1852. That's how old I feel. But, it was pretty segregated because I'm originally from like Northern Virginia, like D.C.
Okay.
So it was like everybody was everybody there.
Yeah.
Then I get here and I'm like, why is everyone sitting at different tables?
Yeah.
So it's kind of probably helped me in comedy a little bit, just seeing that aspect of it. Like, oh, I went from this to this. Like, that's strange. So it's a lot of teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's the more like different cultures you can experience, the more maybe you can get at the truth of what you're trying to say too, and not to like just do all your jokes for one type of room, and then you end up just kind of catering your ideas to what makes them laugh. You know, that's why I would like to. I have a goal to try to do like some black room shows this year, just to be in that position where I'm like, oh, there's nobody else here that looks like me, or, because that's usually not the case. So just flipping that is. It makes you nervous.
Yeah.
You got to like figure that out. Maybe it goes really bad, but then on the drive home, you're like, all right, well, I survived. And
yeah. Well, I mean, even then, like,
I'll come back and try again.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite, like, bombing and that drive home.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm just trying to dissect what I did.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, next time I have to try this instead of this for, just switch everything around.
Yeah.
So I used to write, like, pretend I was going to do every joke I had. And I write a list for it. And then I look at it and be like, think about the last crowd, and I'm like, well, that last crowd, maybe I should take this piece, put it here, to where I can do my jokes forwards and backwards. There's no actual pattern to anything, but I can connect them.
Yeah, they don't have to go in one order. You can like structure it. Huh. Do you have like a real good memory then? You can kind of like move, you can be talking and you can be like moving things around in your mind.
Because you've worked it so many different ways.
Right, okay.
And then, they say every crowd's different, but there are crowds that are similar. So like you've been in those shows where it's like, all right, they're quiet. So they're quiet. I'm gonna pull this here, put this here. All right, I got them. All right, I'm gonna put this here. Oh nope, then I got to bring this here.
Yeah.
That's how my mind constantly works on stage.
It's like an operating system running in the background.
Yeah, like the lady with the old school phone, like patch me to so and so. It's like but that's how my brain works.
Yeah.
Especially one time I was with Russell Peters, and I was just going to hang out. I said, man, I'm coming to hang out. He's like, cool. I get there. He's like, put Mello up. I was like, huh? You know, I'm like, I just came to hang.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, come on, man, here, and I ain't put you up. It's like 4,000 people. And I wasn't even thinking about going up. So I only had 5 minutes to get ready.
Yeah.
So my brain was just like, what am I going to do? So I had all this new stuff. So I go out there and it's just like, I black out. And then my mind's just constantly like, just trying to find anything because I wasn't expecting to go up.
Yeah.
So it's just like such a black, I call it the Matrix. You know, it was like an outer body. And I remember just getting off and then was like, good job. I was like, what did I do? Like, I didn't remember anything. This guy was just so shook at that moment.
Yeah.
That messed me up for a while.
But it went well. You just kind
It
of had
went
like an
well.
out of body.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like, yeah.
But it was such a
Transcended
high
reality.
intense, yeah, to where like I was struggling on regular shows for like a month after that
Wow.
because it's such a high,
Yeah.
tense situation.
You had
I've
to like
never been in.
assimilate that experience in. But
Yeah,
then did
it's
you
like-
find after that month, like that was like,
I kind of had to ease it out. Like,
yeah,
it's just to come down off of that was such a
4,000. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not,
know.
yeah.
So you're like, I'm like, oh man, it's only 300 people. No. But I mean, it's just such a rush
Yeah.
that it was like hard to get that feeling. You know, it's almost like you're chasing that dragon.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, no, man, that should be for 20 people
Yeah.
or 30 people. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, you should have that feeling.
Yeah.
So I had to definitely backtrack and find my right sense of mind to go back out because I just wasn't getting as excited.
Yeah.
You know, and so where's my nervousness at? I should be nervous.
Right.
You know? So I started basically freaking myself out. That's when I took the list away.
Taking more risks or just switching it up. Like,
Yeah, just like, I mean, just anything to get me nervous. Like, oh, shit, I ain't write a list out, you know?
Yeah, you do need that, right? Because that's that feeling of like,
Yeah.
this could go bad or I'm alive right now.
It's like Linus, you know, got that blanket,
yeah.
you know, but then I had to get rid of it
Yeah.
just so I could get that nervousness back. So it's weird.
The blankets, the set list.
Yeah. Just, I mean, sometimes just in your pocket, you know, you're like, as long as it's there, I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know.
I write it out and then I put it in there and then I never need it, but I know it's there.
Yeah.
I know I'm like, you know, it's like a concealed carry like
Yeah.
this or something.
If something goes down, I'm
Yeah, I
pulling it
got
out.
like a list of the. You don't need it because you have it.
Yeah.
I'm not a gun person. I don't know why I use that example.
Hey, you know what? Most people that aren't gun people use gun.
Yeah. So do you record when you're talking about doing a set like that and then you got to like process it after? Do you record your sets or do you just kind of like you record it in your mind or you?
In my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got a real sharp because I can't really.
I used to be. I've smoked my brain dead, so no, not anymore. No, I mean, when it's fresh.
You really feel like smoking affects the stuff?
Nah,
I feel like that's just something they said.
I mean, like I said, man, I can only have a certain amount of jokes in my head at one time.
Yeah.
You know, but no, when it's fresh, I think about it, and I'm just constantly going over it. Like that's one thing my old girl would hate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had a good set. I'm like, I didn't. This part, I didn't get it right. You know, so I'm constantly, even after a good show or a bad show, I'm constantly going back over it. What could I have done better? What did I not like?
So you're kind of like I don't know if perfectionist is the right word, but even though you present as just like so chill and relaxed, there is kind of a part of you that's meticulous.
Oh yeah,
about.
definitely. Because
That's interesting because I think it's kind of different what people might think, you know.
oh really?
Yeah, I mean, you just seem so relaxed,
Yeah.
but I think that's common. I think that's probably a lot of people that are
I
just,
appreciate it.
anybody
Yeah.
that's like really good and seems relaxed on stage. You don't get that good by being.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
shit. I said the instead of the.
Yeah.
The sounds way better at that point. You know.
Do you really get down like on that level, like the and the, like the rhythm?
Yeah,
of
it's
the...
like I ain't like the way that sounded.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I went and did a thing out in Cali, first time ever actually filming something like that. And I went back and looked at it. Like everyone liked it, thought it was great. I hated every part of it. You know, I was like, oh man, the timing. Like I'm not comfortable. Like I can hear, I can see, and I know everything that was wrong with it. But everyone liked it. But
Yeah.
I was like, that sucked.
Yeah.
You know, like my girl used to get mad at me and be like, "You did great. Accept it." It's like, no, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know any better, you know. It's like these mortals, you know. But that's just how my mind works. It's like it's not good enough for me.
These mortals.
Yeah, that's how I used to be like, man, these mortals don't understand. Great job, yeah, thank you. I had to learn how to take
Yeah.
a compliment.
Yeah, right. Because you don't want to take that from them if they're like, "That was a fun night for us," and you're like, "No, it wasn't. Here's why I didn't do a good job." You know, you want to.
So I had to really be like, man, they enjoyed it. Be happy with
let
that,
them
but
have
also kick your own ass on your own time.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's part of being like trying to be great at anything. Is yeah, I think you kind of have to like kick your own ass in that way, but then it's like you gotta enjoy it too. I mean, like do you like do you, what do you like? Do you enjoy the moments on stage the most, or is it kind of is that the payoff is like when it's happening?
Oh yeah,
it's going well.
Oh yeah. Even when it's going bad now, it's like
that's awesome
because you know, oh, I got something to work on.
Yeah,
you know,
it's real.
Yeah. So you just I just sometimes I do have to check myself and not be too hard. Because you can get to a point where you're hurting yourself, then help it.
Yeah.
So it's like finding that level to where it's like, all right, you got it. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. You know?
You did the best you could do. You can do it better.
Yeah. But in the back of your mind, it's like, shh, that one joke, you know, it could be one word. I know on that set I did in Cali, I was like, why did you add that word? You've never added that word before in your life, man. I was torn over it.
See, to me, that sounds like drumming because it's like every little accent, every little syllable, like the and the. That's almost like is the hi-hat open or closed or something. It's like, well, it's a hi-hat, but to a normal person, but it's like, no, it's these little tweaks you can make.
Yeah, and that's a problem with my drumming. But yeah, you know, it's fine-tuning those little things. And learning how to accept compliments.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. Yeah.
Yeah, I still get weird about it. Like, thanks, you know, I appreciate it. You know, this one girl's like, I bet you hear that all the time. It's like, no, I gotta go. You know, it's like, I don't know, I get extra shy after.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, because you just like, you were just a guy in the room, and then you like kind of bare your soul, and to some degree, I mean, that's like
I want to go hide sometimes,
and then you're just back at the bar, and it's like, and people might feel like they really know you, and so they want to like just be your friend, but you're like, I don't know you, anything about you, like, is that sort of what you mean, like trying to slip back into just being a guy after being the center of, attention?
I mean, comedy, just period, man, just like when you start getting recognized.
Yeah.
It's weird because I'm like, what the hell is this dude staring at? I'm about to whoop his ass. Man, I loved your stuff the other night. And I'm like, I'm the dick. I just mean mug this dude for no reason. But yeah, I mean, it's just this insecurity.
Yeah.
That's all it is, insecurities. You know, it's like, oh, is that good enough? Or, you know.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, we're cocky enough to go up there and do what we do.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get off, I'm just like, hey, I want to go high, you know.
I think there's also some the insecurities why we're up there too. It's
absolutely.
You know, it's like one of the themes. There's certain themes that come up on this podcast, and one of them is that like people have said multiple times that you know I want to control the way people are laughing at me. That's like a really common one. You know, like you're a kid, people are laughing at you. Yeah. But you grow up and you're a comedian, and you're like, all right, I'm in control of how they're laughing at me, or little you know things like that to kind of try to flip the insecurity.
Yeah, it's like you're the maestro.
Yeah,
you know,
the conductor of the
conductor. Yeah, you
emotions of the crowd.
Yeah. I want you to laugh here.
Yeah,
I didn't tell you to laugh here. I said here. You know, that's what throws me off is when they laugh at a spot that you didn't plan to be funny.
Yeah,
like I've had a show to where they were laughing at all the weird things, and I'm like, what am I doing that? Like, why are you laughing at that part? You know. And then they get to the punch, and then they don't laugh.
And they're laughing at the setups, and
what? I don't. So yeah,
I love it when like I can't think. I'm like just kind of blank and I can't think of something, and then I take a pause accidentally, and they laugh, and it's like, oh, sometimes they'll laugh if you just pause. You know, I hear like new comics a lot just rushing through everything so fast.
It's because we're trying to get all 15 jokes into that 3 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, trying to shoehorn.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, I got to get this. It's like Micro Mini Machine Man, just spitting your jokes out.
I remember that guy.
Yeah.
I know that reference. I don't know.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're close. I forget sometimes, you know, it's like, what? Never mind. But yeah, like, I think that was it. You know, we just we want to get all the stuff we got into such a small time
Yeah.
that we're just trying to rush. But yeah, I had this one comedian tell me, "Can you liven up a little bit? He's too mellow." I was like, all right, I got you. Because especially hosting, I'm a little less mellow.
Yeah. You got to like bring the room together. Be
Yeah.
like, hey, it's a show.
Yeah. So this one comic told me, he told the manager, which I was like, man, you could have talked to me. I don't feel like you went to dad and told on me.
Yeah, he knocked you out.
Yeah. So that next show I hosted, I was way more animated, like probably way more than usual. And I went back there. I was like, "Yeah, I livened up for you, man. I got you."
Was that enough?
Yeah. He's like, that's cool. I'm like, oh, you heard about that? Yeah. Of course they're gonna tell me. That was your plan, right?
Yeah, but I didn't want you to know that I was the one that said it.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I totally get it. Like, but I'm just who I am. I can't. Give me a line of Coke. I'll do my best. But even then, I'm just like, what kind of Coke is that? He's still Snuffleupagus up here, man. He's just so big. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know what time. It's like 6:45. We've been at it for an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, nice.
How are you doing on time? Should we wrap it up?
I mean, whenever, man.
Okay.
It shows at 8.
Yeah, maybe chat a few more. Try to wrap up at like 7.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I want to definitely give you time to just, not be rushing around.
Yeah, I just hit back the hotel. I'm only less than a mile away.
Oh, cool. You're over on this. This is the best side of town, East Asheville. Just looking at my things to see if I. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. We can edit the lulls out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Are there other things that you like? Sometimes people will say like, "Oh, I'm like trying to write a screenplay." Or are there other interests? You mentioned like you had kind of been interested in the sketch early on before going into stand up. Yeah. Are there other things that you want to like do with your comedic or artistic side?
Kind of want to do everything,
Movies.
Movies, yeah, definitely. I want to write, direct, and be in a movie. Yeah, sketch it. I'm just whatever part of it I want to do. Like even go back to like Saturday Night Live type stuff. But yeah, I'm down with anything as long as it's got comedy in it. I enjoy writing, so I've gotten to write for a few people, and that's awesome.
Oh, like for their stand up.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And it's almost just as rewarding when you write something for somebody and it works.
Yeah.
You're just like, that's
right.
mine. That's mine.
Yeah.
I did that, feels good.
Yeah. I would love to do that. I would love to write jokes for Roseanne or something like that and then have her kill with them. That would feel amazing.
That's dope.
I didn't even have to go out of the house to
I know,
pay
man.
for the jokes.
I did that for Tracy Morgan. I was writing for him for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I had this joke. And I was like, man, it just seems like it worked for him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, you ever try this? You can have it. I don't really use it, but I just think it works with you. Because his thing was, I don't need you to write my jokes. I need you to punch them up.
Okay.
So I just gave him a joke, though. And is that Medusa equals fat ass joke?
Oh, yeah.
I gave that to him. And the joke is basically like, working with a bunch of men. And, testosterone start going. You start catcalling. I never catcalled before. These guys are like, "Oh, look at that ass." I'm like, "Dude, she's 80. I'm pretty sure it's a diaper. How do you know? Sounds like a potato chip bag walking by." It's like, she's 80. I said, "Man, you can have fat titties on anybody. Except Medusa can have a set of fat ass and titties, and there'll be nothing but a line of statues down the street." And I'm like doing different poses. So I gave that to Tracy, and he just made it his own, man. He said, "There'll be a brother in the wheel." He said, "There'll be a brother with a stroller, like." So even the baby's like, just the way because only Tracy talks like Tracy.
Yeah.
Like even some of the stuff he says is like, but because he said it, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But the way he did it and the way it worked, I was just like, that's me right there. It's on me, you know. So, yeah, man. I mean,
it's like writing a song for Taylor Swift or something. You know,
God.
she does it at the Super Bowl. You're like,
you're like, yeah, I'm getting paid. But yeah, man, just anything, man. I would like to do it all. Actually starting to think about taking acting classes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, probably would help. I've thought about that just for helping stand up.
Oh yeah,
learning how to access emotions and yeah.
A couple comedians back, home took acting lessons, and you can definitely tell the progression in their comedy. It's just like boom, you're like, oh man, they aren't even doing that much, but you can tell just that little bit of training just amped up there.
I think a little bit's the right amount, because sometimes everybody's an actor and they got like really white teeth, and it's they're like weird, it's like the LA actor
I lived out there for a little bit.
Turn stand up. It's just something creepy about it.
Dude,
feels like they're like a cyborg or something.
It's so weird because I lived out there in LA for a little bit, and I went to this mic. It was at some dude's house that he turned into a club. It's kind of cool, but also a little creepy. And so I'm in, waiting on my turn, and I'm looking at all these guys, and I was like, this dude just literally must have got off an audition for Tarzan. He looked just like Tarzan. And very like surfer type, and this. Then I get up there, and then everyone's just looking at me weird, and I'm like, am I not doing good? Like, it was such a hard thing to read, like, but I realized they were all actors supporting actors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
yeah, right.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if they taking your spot, there's a problem. Because I know a lot of comedians would be mad about it, but I'm like, man,
yeah,
you can't be mad if they got your spot.
Yeah.
Be mad at yourself.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of that, right? I imagine after 20 some years, I mean, like, I think stand up to some degree is just like not getting picked most of the time. And as you continue to do it, if you stick with it and get better, like you have, it's probably less of that. But still, it's just always just a lot of things you don't get on.
Every level, you're not getting picked.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to just kind of manage that. Like I see so many people it just drives them crazy, and they get angry and they quit. It's like, just stay in.
Yeah, just
keep
stay
it
in the
coming
lane.
back. Yeah.
Just know it's going to come.
Yeah.
I quit once, and I was cool with it.
Yeah.
I woke up that morning, it's like, I'm burnt out. I'm done.
Yeah.
I've done some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I live a regular life. And then that afternoon, I get a text like, Raleigh? I'm like, yeah, what's up? Because we need an opener for Chappelle. It's like, I'm back in the game. I'm picking up clothes off the floor, trying to smell it. You see, I'm like, I don't know. I just got to get there, So I quit for like a total of 5 hours.
About to get your whole life together, just be like a happy, content person. And then it's
it drags me back into this hell.
And Chappelle, too. So, I mean, you can't really be like, well, I'll get this offer again next year.
So it's funny. Anytime I'm feeling down, it's like, I'm about to quit. Who am I going to get? I'm about to quit. I feel like I'm about to quit. Can I get somebody? But yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, man, but it's been a fun one.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah, man.
If one for comedy, be out there robbing. No. But yeah,
that's where it started, right? With the jail. It starts and ends with the jail, the comedy journey.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my brother bailed me out. I took a fall for a friend, like an idiot. Had a clean record, and I was like, I got you, man. Took a fall. He took off, so there went that. But I remember my brother's like, what are you going to do with your life? And I told him, I was like, I was about to tell him. He goes, I don't want to hear it. Write it down on this napkin. I wrote it down. He took it, folded it up, didn't even look at it. Then 4 years into comedy, he brought it to me right before a show. So, do you remember this? And said, I want to be a comedian.
Whoa.
And I was like, why you going to do that before a show? You about to got me crying, man, before this show. I can't go out there like this.
Definitely the final scene of like the movie about your life.
I know.
I mean, it's like the old napkin before you go on.
Yeah, here you go, buddy.
That's awesome.
He's like my second dad. So I was like, dang. He's like, you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
you are doing it.
Yeah. So it was like, it was almost an eye opener because I wasn't thinking like, I'm just doing stand up.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're actually doing it. You're doing shows. You're getting out there working. I was like, oh, I guess I am.
And you're just like, your material just is really high level to it. It's like funny, but it's also like intellectual. And
thank you,
it's
man.
Cool just to see it. I love it when it hits on different levels like that,
Yeah.
So
I think it's funny you say that because I feel like I was ballsier when I first started than I am now. But I feel like I'm getting that back. You know, except you start doing shows to where, I start to get paid, so you got to stay here. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? That got you to here.
Yeah.
So go back to that.
Yeah.
You know, so I find myself going back. I'm like, okay, all right. I feel it now. All right, I remember this. You know, because I
can still get canceled. I can still say something I shouldn't say.
Yeah, I did an abortion joke, and I don't think it was bad. I think I was on the right side of it. But, you know, I got one comment from this lady who used to love me. She goes, I am just so, what did she say? I'm just so disappointed in you. And I'm just like, wait a minute, you worked at a comedy club. Come on, really? You know, but
Jesus, you should never say that to somebody.
It hurt a
like
little
the worst
bit, but
thing
then
you
I'm
can
like, screw you.
Yeah.
You know, like,
maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to be for everybody, right?
Yeah.
That's like the tendency of like trying to clean it up and go to the money lane all the time, is it's kind of like trying to make it fit and be safe enough for everybody.
Yeah.
But the best comedy is usually not.
Yeah, not
for
everyone's
everybody.
supposed to like it.
Yeah.
Not
like
everyone.
Seinfeld in the 90s or something where it's like everybody likes it. That doesn't happen now.
I feel like you're scared if you're, well, I don't want to say scared, but I definitely want to make people think, you know, like just something deeper than what it really is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like my last album, it was a lot, had to do with, you know, me taking care of my dad with dementia and mom passing and me dealing with my whole thing. So it definitely opened up a softer side, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then now I'm starting to feel like,
you want to be
I'm like,
like
all right,
more immature, just more crazy, like
immature, but also maybe a little more,
like you don't give a shit if they all like you, like
Yeah.
kind of more ready to like. It's okay if some people are upset, like kind of creating that.
yeah. So that's all right. You don't have to be upset.
Yeah,
But you know, I don't care either. I got to stop caring about making everybody feel good.
yeah. That's like
Not everybody should feel
the
good.
Patrice O'Neill thing. Is he was always like, I want some people in the room not into it. Like if everybody's having a good time, that's not the kind of show I want. I want there to be at least one table that's like upset.
Yeah.
Like that tension is kind of part of what makes it exciting.
Yeah, he said 50% should be laughing and 50% horrified.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, yeah.
I can kind of see that because when you're in that room, like whichever side you're on, like that is an exciting room to be in.
No,
when
yeah.
it's like the room's torn in half, and you got this like brilliant maniac saying wild things, but also brilliant things, and I mean that's just being in the room for those types of shows. I mean,
I like watching the people, like especially if I've seen them, like especially when I was going up there all the time, because I saw Patrice at Good Nights, and it was really like when he started coming out, I didn't really know much about him, and man, he walked like probably like 8 couples and he looks around and he goes, all right, cool, now we got the real fans, and then just started his act, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Oh man, you got to see him live. That's incredible.
Dude. Yeah, I didn't even really know who he was then. I just heard about him.
Yeah.
And he just looked at his lady, he's like, you're not gonna like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely not. He'll say a couple things, boom, boom. Then it's like he meant that.
Right during the Patrice story of all times. I think he might be about to mow the neighbor's yard, so we probably should. It's all right. We're wrapping up. Yeah. But yeah, it's like 7, so you got a show in an hour.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks
Mike,
for having me.
Big fan. Looking forward to the show.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.